560, The Answer.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. November jobs number is out. It's a disappointment. 210,000 jobs versus 550,000 expected. However, September, October jobs numbers revised up about 100,000 combined, and the unemployment rate fell to 4.2%, down 0.3 of a point. We'll discuss in more detail at the top of the 8 o'clock hour with James Perry. But now we continue to assess what we heard in oral arguments before the Supreme Court in the Dobbs case on Wednesday that has the potential, per the Supreme Court's inclination, to reverse Roe v. Wade and send the matter of abortion back to the states at some point before next June when the Supreme Court's term ends. One of the best unhinged rants I heard about this, we played yesterday, was from Elie Mystal, who's allegedly a lawyer and also the law correspondent for The Nation, which is a left-wing rag. So let's hear it again, because it just captures a lot of sort of the true position of the left that has very, very little to do with the United States Constitution.
Conservatives want you to think that a fetus, a fetus who is pre-viability, that means that it cannot exist outside of its mother, it cannot live outside of the womb, should have the same legal rights as full-grown black people in this country. And that the fact that it doesn't is some kind of miscarriage of justice, no pun intended, and that the people who shouldn't have the full rights are the women who are carrying the fetus. Now, I can prove that a fetus is not deserving of full personhood rights, because if it were, they would be arguing that the fetus should be given citizenship. They would be arguing that the fetus should have other rights, like a right to education or right to health care. They would be arguing that I should be able to claim fetuses as dependents on my taxes, which you'll note they're not. They're only concerned about the right of a fetus when that right can be used to diminish the rights of women, and that is what the conservatives are all about on the Supreme Court.
For more on what conservatives are all about and pro-lifers, please be joined by Abby Johnson. She's a best-selling author, Planned Parenthood director turned pro-life advocate, and CEO and founder of And Then There Were None, which helps abortion workers leave their jobs and find life-affirming ones. You are probably familiar with her movie Unplanned as well, which was made out of her book. Abby, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me on.
So is that what conservatives are all about, using fetuses to diminish the rights of women?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know us. Yeah, that's what we're all about.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I love, and of course, I was listening to something yesterday, actually. There was a rant on a show. An African-American woman was saying that the only reason that we're trying to overturn Roe v. Wade is we want to force. It was the most insane argument. It didn't even make any sense. But we want to end abortion so that white women will start having more babies. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, that doesn't even make any sense. I was like, that it was so strange. They were like, she was just going on and on about how, overturning Roe v. Wade is a racist decision. And I was like, we have really, we're trying to save, because, we're always talking about how black women are disproportionately affected by abortion because, these abortion facilities are put into black neighborhoods. And I was like, yes, I'm trying to protect black babies because I want I don't understand. It didn't make any sense. They're just going on and on about arguments that don't make any sense, and it was truly bizarre. They're just not making any sense right now. The argument that you just played doesn't make any sense. They're unhinged right now. The Hollywood elites are unhinged. But we're all we're doing is trying to protect women and protect babies, and that's it.
Yeah, right. I mean, they have to sort of shoehorn racism into everything, and so it doesn't really matter how illogical it is. It's going to be part of their arguments because this is just, labeling rather than making any sort of cogent case for a position. But it is worth noting. Wasn't it recently where New York City there were more black babies aborted than were born in a calendar year?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we're trying to protect, as you say, black children in the womb so they can grow up to be black men and women in America, and that is a racist plot. I mean, they're again. That's literally the argument that's being made, and it was made sort of by Elie Mystal there as well. I wonder too, just getting past the legalities for a minute. Your work with the "And Then There Were None" organization that you founded is so interesting because, of course, this is what happened to you. You were a Planned Parenthood clinic director, and then you became this pro-life advocate. I wonder, in this context, with this seminal decision in the offing, what you hear from those women that you work with who were part of the abortion industry and have now seen a different light.
Yeah, we have now right at 600 abortion clinic workers, including nurses, doctors, those who have worked in the high up ranks of abortion facilities at the affiliate level who have left. They have, basically defected from the organization, and they have come through our ministry. And of course, our goal is not just to get them new employment. Our goal is to help them find a saving relationship with Jesus Christ. And so that's exactly what they're doing. And so in that, part of their healing, part of their a lot of times is to begin speaking out, and sometimes they begin working with, law enforcement. They begin working with state officials, sometimes federal officials, to start talking about what actually took place inside of their organizations and inside of their facilities. And so some of them have been able to actually go back and shut down the facilities where they worked because of, different failed inspections, different health issues, things like that, different things that were taking place. And so we've actually been able to shut down over 25 abortion facilities where these workers came from as well. So it's been pretty amazing. I mean, 600 people coming to the Lord, over 25 facilities shut down because of the work that they're doing. And
it's also
incredible.
interesting too that they're coming from a lot from healthcare too, because this was part of what was discussed before the court on Wednesday, the issue of viability when that was raised, and what we know now through the advances in science and medicine. And this was all, of course, summarily dismissed by Sotomayor, but it's nonetheless a real thing that's changing hearts and minds at the institutional level that you're describing. Matters like what we know about babies experiencing pain in the womb, again, dismissed by the ideologues, but very real for the practitioners.
Well, exactly right. And it was crazy to hear Sotomayor and even Kagan sort of mention this, that these are people that want us to follow the science, right? They want us to follow the science. They, liberals say that all the time. The Biden administration has said that all the time. And so we say, okay, well, we'll go with you. We'll follow the science. And then Sotomayor says on the bench that in basically the past 50 years since Roe was determined, that there have been no medical breakthroughs in maternal or fetal medicine. And that's so intellectually dishonest. It's so not true. And I'm just thinking, you know better than that. You know that's a lie. You know that's absolutely not true. And she completely dismisses fetal pain, like you said, and basically writes it off and says, oh, well, there's, a sort of this faction of fringe doctors who believe that. It's not true. It's not fringe doctors. There are peer-reviewed journal articles that are out about fetal pain. It's pretty widely accepted that fetal pain exists well before 28 weeks now. That's really only a talking point that's used by pro-abortionists at this point, which I feel like they are the fringe in medicine right now. So it's bizarre. I mean, you feel like these Supreme Court justices have got to be very, very intelligent people, some of the most learned people probably in our nation, but they are just so intellectually dishonest when it comes to, and it's very willful when it comes to abortion.
So, Abby, it looks like maybe, Roe versus Wade will get overturned in June with 6-3 vote, but then what happens? It's turned over to the states, and then what's your plan of attack?
So the way it looks right now is if Roe is overturned, which, of course, we're very hopeful that will be the case. If Roe is overturned, then it looks like about 26 states would make abortion illegal. And primarily they would do that through trigger laws, so laws that are already on the books in their state or through their state constitution. Right. And so, then it goes to the state level. We start fighting at the states that, some states have already codified Roe, like New York. They have passed laws in their own states, legislation in their own states to make sure that basically Roe is on the books in their own state legislature. So, that's going to be tough, right? Those states are going to be tough. New York, California, going to be tough to make abortion illegal there. But we start sort of, picking off low-hanging fruit, trying to chip away at abortion in those states. But in the states where abortion is immediately illegal, in these 26 states, that's where we've got to really start working on a robust plan to, and we're already working on it now, actually, with pregnancy resource centers, planning on a post-Roe world and really beefing up pregnancy resource centers and, hotlines and getting this plan in place, because we know that crisis pregnancies aren't just going to magically disappear, right? And so we have to have the resources available to really be able to stand in the gap for these women who are going to need us.
She is Abby Johnson, best-selling author, Unplanned, also a movie. If you haven't seen it, do. Planned Parenthood director turned pro-life advocate, CEO and founder of And Then There Were None, which helps abortion workers leave their jobs and find life-affirming ones. Abby, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
One of the things we have learned in the past year, technology is a must. You must have good